sannyasi, if we cannot control senses, sannyas ashram will be a disaster. But of course, becoming a sannyasi again means one has to demonstrate one is able to control the senses, so one can take that final step that become actually sannyasi. But if we do not practice, if we're not able to control our senses, anything in spiritual life will be a disaster. Vajra vegam, manasa, krodha vegam, diva vegam, udara pasta vegam. It's devotional service. We have to control 6 senses or 6 urges. The urge to speak, the pushings of the mind, the pushing of anger, and the tongue, belly, and genitals. They have to all be properly controlled. And how do we control them? Well, we have to be Krishna conscious. The senses, they have to be engaged in Krishna's service. Rishikena, Rishikesha. Rishikena, Rishikesha, Sevanam Bhakti Uchate. Yeah, isn't that kind? Goes like that. So, the senses have to be engaged in the service of the master of senses, Krishna's service. This is how senses can be controlled. Otherwise they will not be able to be controlled. If we simply repress senses, will not take care of the senses, but they have to be positively engaged in the service of the master of the senses, of Krishna, in Krishna's service. And that art one has to learn in all cases, whether one is a brahmachari, grihastha, or anything, whatever. Here we see Kashyapa Muni. Of course, he's an exceptional sage, so we don't understand how advanced he is. He's actually one of the 7 stars. If you go out and look at the constellation of the 7 sages, you know what that is? Everyone? No?
Yeah, high up.
Huh?
It's very high up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know the Big Dipper?
The Big
Dipper?
No.
Constellation called the Big Dipper.
Karlsvogn.
Yeah. You know what? But that's actually the 7 sages.
Really?
Yeah, it's the 7 sages. And Kashyapa is one of them.
Polarstjernen, er det ikke Duraloka? Undskyld.
Maybe. Polaris is a polar star. Yes, a polar star is Dhruva-loka, but if the Polaris, which we call the polar star, is Dhruva-loka, I doubt. But that's another.
The one we see in the sky, the first star to come, that is not accepted as Dhruva-loka.
Once again,
that's the first star which appears in the night sky. That's normally considered the polar star, isn't it?
No.
Isn't it?
No.
The first, the most brightest star in the sky.
No. Polaris is not a bright star. There are stars of first class, second class, third class, according to brightness, and the polar star is a second class. It's not a super bright star. It's visible, but it's not a super bright star. And anyway,
the science.
Yeah, the science. I'm not going to get into astronomy, but it's and I was just checking if someone knows, because because most people nowadays don't know the star constellations, which is amazing, because they're just over us, and it's and they, of course, it's material. Astrology is material like that, but it's still kind of the environment we're in. And previously, before city lights were there, people they knew the stars, because but now we got the city lights. You think now it's great advancement. We can see so much more than we could before. And actually, you see less. Before they saw the night sky and knew all the stars and the planets and comets and like that, and the phases of the moon. They were following that every day, like that. Now we completely many people don't even. Some, I guess, most are barely aware that there are some stars there. But that's all. What the stars are, the constellation. How many know the Orion's constellation here? Yeah. Oh, it's not bad. It's the most prominent constellation in the night sky. In South Africa, I had also an object. For some reason, there was mention actually of, was it Orion? For some reason, none of them knew it. And although they had this really, it's such a prominent constellation. Anyway, that's beside the point. Shakyamuni is one of the 7 sages, so he's very special. He's one of the 7 sages of the Big Dipper. And somehow he got a little, even he got bewildered by his wife. That will, generally also happen in Grihastha life. The woman will use, and sometimes, and women in general will use it even though it's not in Grihastha life. That's a symptom of those who live in an unchaste world. Women, they use their female potency on any man, and like that. Of course, properly trained man, he should be repulsed immediately as a woman who's not one's wife. And she comes and smiles and Prabhu, and like that. This is an unchaste woman, probably desperate woman. Women are alone, and anyway, that's enough. But still, it's an unchaste woman, and you cannot expect, even if you develop a relationship to her, don't expect chastity to her, because she actually attracted you with unchastity. So that chastity she will not have chastity. She will not stick to one man. She will be like a lightning, flashing in the sky, sometimes flashing from this cloud, sometimes from that cloud, as the example given at Bhagavatam. Look in the autumn, in Vrindavan, there are many dark clouds and lightning and thunder, and you see the lightning sometimes, there's massive clouds, and then there's lightning in this cloud, and the next second there's lightning in another cloud like that, and that's compared to an unchaste woman who doesn't fix her mind on one man, one husband, but goes from this husband to that husband to that husband, so the point is we have to be proper Krishna conscious, follow Dharma. Then actually things they will work. Things, it is possible to be actually a proper grihastha. I'm not talking about completely against being married, and I'm not against women. Women have their nature, men have their nature, but no matter what one has to learn how to follow Dharma properly. Instructions, giving clear instruction how we conduct our lives as brahmacharis, as grihasthas, as men, as women. If we follow the principles of Dharma, our life will be safe. We have to follow Dharma, and then we have to be Krishna conscious. Then life becomes sublime. The next life becomes sublime. Both have to be there. In one sense, it is being Krishna conscious. Principles of Dharma is being Krishna conscious, but in one sense you can also follow the principles of Dharma without being Krishna conscious, such as you can be faithful in marriage and like that. That's a principle of Dharma, but you may not be completely Krishna conscious. So if you follow the principles of Dharma, you will not degrade, and you will be like a civilized person. So we should learn how to be civilized persons, and then we should be Krishna conscious, and then life actually becomes very sublime. Okay, I'll stop here. Any questions, comments?
I was just thinking, like, when you're in the situation where you are like dealing with the sense objects.
Mhm.
How do you deal with the sense objects without contemplating the sense objects?
How do you deal with that? Only by being Krishna conscious. If you, you only deal with the sense objects to the degree it is needed for your service. So then it is just, and as soon as service is over, you put away. You immediately go away. And if you don't, then somehow or other, then there will be somehow or other there will be an attachment, and it will stick in the mind. So it's so we have to be sense controlled. Sense control takes, and we are conscious at every moment, every minute we're conscious, and actually asking, is this what I'm doing here? Is this strictly for service? And one has to be careful, this is just strictly for service. And if one associates more than is needed for service, then one will be contaminated in the mind. Cannot. That's quite unavoidable. Therefore, brahmacharis should only, associate with women for the sake of begging alms. This is a Bhagavatam. You should simply go to a woman and say, "Mother, please give me alms." And depending on your vana, you will express it differently. How is it? No one knows that? You know that Brahmanas, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, they're all brahmacharis, but they have actually Brahmana nature, Kshatriya nature, Vaishya nature. They ask for alms in 3 different ways. Never heard that? It's house. Mother, bhikshu. Anyway, the Brahmana, the Vaishya, he says, bhikshu, me give. And the Brahmana, he said, he would ask something like, please give me bhikshu. And Kshatriya. Anyway, there's just a funny detail because it shows something about the mentality. The Brahmana boy, he's very, for him, respectfulness is the main thing. For the Vaishya type, it's a bhikshu, that is the essence. Definitely ask for that first. But in any case, alms, when you ask for alms for the, you go door to door, that's a brahmachari. He goes out, he takes alms from door to door, and he goes and gives everything for the benefit of the guru and doesn't keep anything for himself. So when he goes out and begs alms, then he simply should only associate with women to the degree it's necessary to beg alms. So you go out, you knock on the door, a woman opens the door, and you say, "Mother, please give me alms." And if she says yes, you accept them and say, "Thank you," and you go. And if she says no, you say, "Thank you," and you go. That's all. So, I think it's a very clear structure. And always remember, when you have if you have a difficult mission, Hanuman had a difficult mission. He had to find Sita. So he jumped to Lanka and he went into Ravana's palace at midnight, and there he was looking, for his Sita here. And the palace was filled with women sleeping, and he had to go and look at them all. So that's one thing brahmachari should never go and look at sleeping women. And Hanuman, he's a real brahmachari. If you want a good brahmachari, that's Hanuman. Hanuman is a strict brahmachari. He's also a monkey, so he's both a monkey and brahmachari. But Hanuman is a very strict brahmachari. So he doesn't go where women are sleeping. He follows the principle of brahmacharya. But he had the mission for Ram, find Sita. So then he had to go and look at all these beautiful women. And how did he avoid it? Being attracted. He said, first of all, he said, I'm not going to get attracted. And then and how to avoid? I'll always chant the name of Ram. Ram, 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 Ram. All the time. This way he would sing. This is not Sita. This is not Sita. At first he saw Mandodari lying there, and then he thought, oh, this must be Sita. Mandodari is a very beautiful woman also. And but then he said, oh, cannot be true. I'm just a monkey. I'm just stupid. Sita would never be, be in the palace of Ravana. Sita would be somewhere, crying, longing for Ram. Sita cannot be Sita. I'm just a stupid monkey. What did I think? You think like that? And then, so it's described, he actually looks a little closer and he sees that, there are all these beautiful women, and but then it's also described to have makeup all over, they have something like, was it 12 different colors and like that. And then Hanuman, he starts asking, is that beauty? If they're so beautiful, why do they need to paint makeup all over their faces and like that? And he starts questioning, is this actually beauty? And so he said, this is not beauty, this is just a show. But yeah. So only for service, nothing else. Okay, I think we must stop here. Ja, Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Jai.